another one that's been waiting since the beginning. So this is Jacob in Illinois. You're on with Matt and Tracie, and you wanted to ask about helping theists who are with religion because it's how they were raised?
Well, it pretty much started out as people in my family, in the fallacy of tradition, and the fallacy of I was raised this way, I'm not going to change. It doesn't matter what you present. That closed-mindedness.
Okay. Do they have any other views other than religion that they're that closed-minded about?
Parenting, criminal justice, racism, I think pretty much everything. Work.
At least they're consistent.
Trump's the greatest. Everything.
Yeah.
It's very hard because I'm a liberal. I'm an atheist. I'm been an atheist since high school, and that's a whole story on its own. But it's just trying to sit down and have a conversation, and the truth or relevant information in a conversation gets rejected as just being my opinion, when in fact is what I'm saying. In fact, what I'm saying is not just my opinion. It is relevant and it is true.
I just put out a video a couple days ago about people who rely on personal testimony instead of data, which might be worth watching addressing this. Tracie may have a different view on this. I'm afraid my answer to you is short, and that is I'm convinced that there are some people who are unlikely to change their mind ever. But until they tell me that and demonstrate that that is the case, I don't know how to tell the difference between somebody whose mind will be changed and somebody's mind who won't. So I'm going to talk to everybody. But as soon as they're at a point where they're shutting it down, nothing you say is going to convince me, we stop having those conversations. We might have other conversations about
other things.
You know, why you perhaps should change your mind. Have you ever been wrong about something that you thought you'd never change your mind about? I haven't run across anybody who would say, I've never found myself to be wrong about something that I was incredibly confident about.
Yeah, there's been a lot of things. There's been lots of things where I thought I knew the answers, but I didn't. And it is scary to make that change, but there's a thing about being wrong. Once I know that I'm wrong, I'm going to no longer be wrong. And I just don't get how people just don't embrace that way of thinking. They want to remain ignorant. They want to remain because this is how they were raised. And
because they're afraid of being in a position where they don't know the answer. Right now, they think they know the answer.
And like you were saying, maybe that's the conversation to have. You know, maybe that's the conversation to say, like, wow, well, in my for my life, if I'm wrong about something but very convinced of it, and someone shows me that I'm wrong, then they've done me a big favor. Like, would you rather just not know if you're wrong, or are you just never wrong? Right? Like, you could have that conversation maybe.
And people very close to me say, I don't want to know the truth. And it's like, okay, how do I have a conversation? Especially when they try to say that I need to believe the way they believe. Oh, I don't consider you an atheist.
Like, so you want to tell me that I need to also not care if what I think is true? Like that's really their pitch? Wow.
Yeah, that's what some of these people, you know, Oh, Jacob,
I don't care if I believe a pack of lies, and you need to believe what I believe.
Exactly.
Wow.
And a lot of it is you need to believe what I believe because I'm older than you or I've had more life experience than you. Like, no, just because you're 40
I believe you should
old.
go fuck yourself. If somebody tells me I should believe something because they're older than me, I believe you should go fuck yourself.
I would be the next question I would have is, what if I can show you someone older than you that believes what I believe?
Oh. Yeah, and I'll bring that up.
Now what?
I'll bring that up with like, okay, criminal justice. They were saying, a family was saying, we should just put gallows and just start executing people right and left. And I said, the evidence suggests that's not correct. Well, it doesn't matter. It's always worked. It has not always worked. And they can't accept the fact.
I guess it's always worked to kill people. Yeah.
If somebody's dead, they can't steal no more.
Yeah, they can't accept the fact that I'm younger, but yet I value intellect and that, okay, spanking your kids is wrong.
Right.
If I told a parent, my aunt, oh, don't slap him, that's wrong. Oh my God, she would come unglued. But yet I choose to use a different method, maybe like a safety harness or physical, put them in a play, give them an area that's for them to play in.
Yeah.
To limit the ability to do things. I'm wrong because I'm not following her way. You know, it's.
Gosh darn it, we've always beaten our kids and killed people, and we're not about to stop now because it works.
Well, the Bible says, spare the rod, spoil the child, and we don't want to spoil the child.
Kill everybody and beat the children, and here we are generations later still doing it, so it must be right.
Child. We're going to spoil that child 100 different ways, but not by sparing the rod.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Wow.
And there's also a fallacy of why I turned out just fine. That's actually a fallacy that was published in the New York Times. The fallacy I've turned out just fine.
Yeah, they haven't turned out just fine, and
even if they did turn out just fine, that wouldn't prove that it was the right method.
Right.
It's like saying I flipped a coin to decide whether or not I should cross the street with a blindfold, and I survived.
Right.
But I would argue that you didn't turn out just fine because you learned the wrong lesson.
Yeah,
is what you learned.
And it's almost like who would let's say that you could achieve the same result. One method being violent and brutal and cruel, and the other method being kind and understanding and compassionate. Like, why would you say, both methods work, but I just prefer the brutal cruelty and violence, right? So I'm going to go that route, right? My sister has dogs. And she loves her dogs and she trains her dogs, and they're like well-trained dogs, right? Like she loves dogs.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, we had a dog and my dad trained it by beating it, right? Yeah. Like the dog did something wrong, you beat it. If it, crapped in the wrong spot, you did vicious things.
Hitting the nail on the head. Oh, you're picking up everything I'm throwing down.
Yeah.
Several arguments because they're all farmers. They all grew up on farms.
Yeah.
So it's very much. I need to close off my YouTube. I'm close off the YouTube and only do. Hold on here a minute.
But I would just say, to borrow a religious phrase, God help a person that would ever lay a hand on one of her dogs.
Exactly.
That is not going to happen. That's not going to go down.
If it's okay for you to beat your kids, can I do it when they're running around my table at the restaurant? Is that okay? If you're not going to do it, can I? That's just absurd.
So. I wouldn't think so. I wouldn't think that it'd be all right just because,
Because they view their kids as their property.
Yeah, but I guess my point though is that if you can get the dog to not crap in the house by being kind to it and teaching it not to crap in the house, or you can get the dog to not crap in the house by beating it and throwing it outside when it craps in the house,
then you're just lazy or violent.
Yeah, I mean, just to say that I prefer the method that is like more brutal, to me, it's like, well, then you're a less humane individual. You're just like less human.
Okay, whenever I pick the more humane option, let's say, okay, I'm walking with a 5-year-old. I said, okay, you're going to walk with me as a 5-year-old. You have to put a safety harness on. Oh my God, I'm a child abuser. I'm a pedophile. It's wrong. It's weird. No, I'm keeping this kid from running out in the street. I'm keeping this kid from running off. But if I'm not hollering and yelling at that kid and forcing respect out of that kid, but yet giving them the option to misbehave and punishing them for it, what's wrong with this preventing the whole situation? The mindset is with everything.
Yeah, I'm still not sure how I feel with kids on leashes.
I think it gives people a visceral negative feel because they associate it with an animal.
Yeah.
But I think that the reason we put these leashes on our animals is because we love them and we know that they don't understand street safety, which is just like a child, right? Like children are also don't understand street
I would fully
safety.
acknowledge that a leash on a child and a harness on a child would be better than some other options. I'm just not necessarily convinced that it's the best, but I don't know.
Yeah, but
I mean that's my method, but
it's certainly less brutal.
Not to get off on a tangent on that, but that's just one example, or exactly with the animal training. Well,
I'll give you a good example, right? So I have a friend. I've got a friend that got in trouble because they went into a garage where somebody was storing dynamite when they were 4 years old, and they thought it was a box of Lincoln Logs. So they were playing with the Lincoln Logs when Grandpa came home and got a beating for it. Now, what does Grandpa have dynamite in reach of a 4-year-old in the garage? Like, how is that?
I'm not violent, and I don't really advocate for beating anybody, but if anybody in that scenario deserved a beating, it was Grandpa.
Yeah, I mean, in a hyperbolic way, you're going, somebody beat some sense into Grandpa.
How dare you pick up that gun I left loaded on the counter?
Yeah, I mean, where is the responsibility for the adult in this room to not expect a 4-year-old to obey? Don't go in there. Don't go in that room. How about put a lock on the door, Grandpa? There's dynamite in that garage.
Where it belongs.
Yeah. What if there was a lighter out there and the kid decided to set that Lincoln Log house on fire?
Oh, hey, that little wick doesn't. Oh, that's cool watching that wick burn.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, I mean, people, they think that way, right? They engage in poor parenting, and then they blame the child and get frustrated by the negative interaction.
That led to the mishap.
Let's blame a 4-year-old and just beat the kid instead of taking responsibility for being the person responsible for the 4-year-old's safety.
Okay, it'd be nice if people would recognize that you can be the best parent in the world and your kids might still end up screwed up, but the shittier you are, the higher that likelihood increases.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I got 2 young cousins, and they're so indoctrinated in the church, and they like to act out the communion and everything. I just sit there watching. It's like, oh, no. Only my mom and dad know I'm an atheist. No one else in my family knows it. So I got to kind of walk that fine line, too.
Yeah. We'll see if you
So there's no easy answer for you. Sometimes somebody, you're never going to change their mind. Maybe somebody else will. Maybe somebody, but the thing is, you just keep engaging honestly, letting people know that, you value them and that you're, like I had a conversation with my mom at one point where I pointed out, it's not that I'm convinced what you believe is incorrect. I am just not convinced that it's correct. And I'm convinced that your reasons are bad enough that they don't warrant belief. You could maybe someday find a better reason, and that would convince me that what you believe is true.
Yes.
That helped a little bit.
I remember one caller, and I don't know if this is useful or not, but we had a caller who was concerned because his dad was having some medical issues, and he was a faith healing believer and wouldn't go and get help. And this guy actually was able to help his father by introducing him to more liberal Christians who didn't have the faith healing beliefs that then worked from within the framework of we believe in God and we believe the Bible, but we think you should see a doctor and so they were able to talk to him more on his level instead of as somebody making secular arguments. They were making like other religious arguments that softened his view and sort of got him to a doctor.
What happens if the faith healing dude is more knowledgeable and ends up making more convincing bad arguments than the liberals that are making convincing bad arguments, and now you've got more faith healers?
Yeah.
That's why I prefer good arguments.
Well, I do too, but at the same time, if your dad's going to die because he won't take his medicine, I mean, I can see, going to somebody that he'll listen to.
Although, if he got better, now he gets another case. I'm shaking the TV behind us by jiggling my leg.
I'm jiggling my leg. You sure it's not me?
I don't know. One of us is doing it.
Maybe it's combined.
I just lost the call screen list. There we go.
Okay.
So we got... I think that's probably all we've got for that, Jacob, I guess.
I do have one recommendation from the control room. They're saying to recommend Parenting Beyond Belief. So we actually have a secular show that deals with secular parenting. So just FYI, that's out there too.
I think I'm going to start an organization that's similar to Parenting Beyond Belief that's about dealing with your parents.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be a good one because I believe
Childing Beyond Belief. Offspringing Beyond Belief. Ooh, that's nice. How to deal with your religious parents. All
right. Well, thank you, Jacob, and good luck. That's a tough one, and I'm sorry that you're stuck in that situation.
Well, yeah. I'm. It's a little bit better now because I'm out on my own. There's still no secular organization where I'm at. There's a university, but there's still no secular student alliance. They got rid of it for some reason, so I thought about looking into that, but
start one.
Well, I could try. Can a non-student start it?
I'm going to be doing a debate at Baylor, either in February or April. And Baylor has an unofficial secular student alliance because they can't have an official secular student alliance. But even at a Christian university, there's a bunch of secular students.
You could put some feelers out, I guess, is what Matt is saying, and just see.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Thanks for the call.
Yeah. Thanks very much.
Every atheist group out there got started by somebody who was frustrated by the fact that they didn't have a group for them, or didn't like the existing groups, or split off from the existing group.
Excellent point.
But yeah.
All right. I know you guys got a bunch of other calls to get to.
All right, thanks, Jacob.
About dealing with unreasonable people and.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.